Hi and welcome to Retro Restos. So today we're just going to have a look at how to change the air filter on a CBR929. Why are we doing it? Well, partly because it's just a general service item that needs to be done anyway, but also I'm doing it because I've got a few things to do. I've got to drop the oil out because I need to change the stator. Why have I got to do that? Well, my good trusty old Arian Fireblade actually wasn't quite so trusty and broke down on me recently, left me stranded. I've had Hondas now for many years, lots of Fireblades, never had any problems except for a stator failure on a CBR 929 many years ago. And not being quite so experienced with bikes back then, I thought, oh, it's just a battery. So I changed the battery. Then I thought, oh, that hasn't fixed it, must be the reg rec, so I changed that and found that the stator was toast. Basically it was a black char on the underneath the engine casing, so I replaced that and everything was tickety-boo. But obviously I was hundreds of pounds in by then, thinking I'd done the right thing by starting at the beginning. So this time round I've checked the battery and it is strong. I've also checked the reg rec and that's okay. And unfortunately the stator is showing continuity to earth on all of the contacts, and it's basically massively out of spec and needs to be replaced. That's for another video, but today, because I've got to drop the oil and filter out anyway to change that, because I'm going to lose oil out of the stator casing when I do that, I might as well just get the service done as well. And so today we're just going to look at changing the air filter. So to change the air filter on the CBR 900, this is a particularly clean and original bike. The previous owner had it for about 17 years, so it's still got the original fastenings. So there are two 10mm bolts at the front there, and then we've got a bolt just at the back of the tank on the tank cushion. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and undo those and prop the tank up. Another beautiful day here in England, and poor old delivery chap over there is getting drenched, but anyway, just as well we're in the warm-ish and dry. So back to the bike. So yeah, there's 11 I think screws altogether around the perimeter there of the housing, and don't forget of course the two on the top. There's two just reset in there. You don't have to get those screws out, they kind of self-seat afterwards. There is also a sensor on the back which you don't need to remove if we're just lifting the hood on the housing assembly. So if we have a look underneath there, we can see actually it is a K&N air filter. So we can take that out, have a look at it, and see if it needs a service or not. So here's the filter, if you can hear me above the noise of the rain. It looks pretty good on the engine side, which it will do of course because it's filtered air there. If we look on the actual intake though, we can see how grimy, generally grotty this is. It's been a while. I could tell when I undid the housing that the screws had a nice little click to them, so they've definitely been seated for a while, and this has certainly been in there for quite a few miles. Wouldn't surprise me in all honesty whether the guy who had it before ever actually changed it, or whether it was the original owner. I did a video on a previous CBR 929 on how to change how to clean and re-oil the K&N air filter, so please check out that video. And it's not a massively difficult process. I will whiz through this again very quickly in a second, but yeah, we'll get this cleaned, re-oiled and reinstalled. So that's the grime that's come out of the filter, so it was definitely well worth doing. It's just ready to dry now, but you can see the colour of it. Of course it's not that pretty pink colour yet because it's just been washed, so it's just got that mangy old sort of cotton inserts. I'm just holding it up to the light there, so you can see all the light sort of coming through it. You can actually see your fingers through once you hold them up against there. Clearly at the moment there's too much light actually coming through, and therefore too much air, not enough oil catching the particulates. So yeah, we just let that dry and then we'll go ahead and spray the oil on. So she's dry now. and we just shake the filter oil. And essentially what you're doing, I'm trying to do this whilst I'm filming it, but just want a light pass, he says, trying to film. I haven't got my tripod with me, but basically it's kind of like one pass across each blade. I'll do the front, and I'll do both sides, trying to hold the camera and do this. Not very exciting television, is it? But hopefully, let's have a look. I'm trying to hold that up to the light so you can see that the light is sort of coming through, but not as much as it was. We'll let that settle in now, where you'll see it's got more of that pink. There is the oil residue, actually. You can see like a red oil, and that's what gives it its characteristic K&N sort of colour, just a tiny bit more. But the trick is not to get carried away, just a light dusting is fine. So that's that. We'll let that settle in for a while, and then we'll get it back on the bike. So here's the filter reinstalled back into the housing. You just have to make sure that the edges are seated nicely all the way round, obviously to get a proper seal, but also you won't get the air filter lid back on properly otherwise. I think I erroneously said to you guys just now that the two screws in the top of the housing there don't need to be removed. Of course they do. What I meant was you don't have to worry about trying to extricate them from the housing assembly. They stay in there. They're sort of self-retained, so that once you drop the filter housing back on and screw it back together, those two screws will just drop straight back into their holes. There's no need to physically remove them, but obviously you need to undo them. And once that's done, it's just a case of fastening those screws back down, lowering the tank, of course, which is currently lifted out of the way for other reasons, which I'll come to in another video. But essentially we're going to get rid of all the fairings, give it an oil change, and we've got the stator to replace, because this one's failed. But more to come in a separate video on that. But anyway, that's basically how the air filter changes, and a quick whistle stop tour on how to clean the K&N air filter. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe for more videos, because there's going to be plenty more work to do. As I say, we'll be doing a bit of work on this one, and coming up, of course, we're going to be working on this wonderful CB1100RB. So that one's going to be coming up very soon. Thank you.